So we're back on the 1949 Farmall Cub again, and the project for today is going to be come up with a bar to go from the hydraulic lift arm down to the front cultivator arm here. And there's one on either side. So you got one on this side, you got one on this side. A little easier to see on this side maybe. But I only need to come up with one bar because I found one. Again, this tractor is not mine, belongs to a family member, and he has a couple of other tractors in the barn that are kind of in pieces and parts and stuff. So this rod fits right up, looks like it goes on this Cub. He's got this other one here. It's different length. The ends are different. I'm thinking maybe this come off of one of those other tractors. So as much as I want to keep, I'm going to use this one on one side, but the other side I'm going to make one up. Rather than hack this up and changing it when it might just bolt right up to one of those other tractors, I'm going to fabricate one that's going to be similar to this. And what I've got here is a piece of 9/16 round stock, and 9/16 is roughly what the diameter of this shaft is. So I'm going to bend a pretty crude bar. It's not going to have this spring on it, so it won't have that protection if you hit hit a root or a rock or something with the cultivators down. That's what these springs are designed to do. They take that shock if you hit something. So this other bar ain't going to have that. But rather than hack that one up or come up with something with a big ass heavy spring, I'm just going to make one out of a bar. I've seen other tractors and these springs are all patched together and welded up and shit anyhow, or they don't function anymore anyway. So that's what we're going to do. So what I've done here is I've made a 90-degree bend. I heated it up, had it in a vise, heated it up, put a 90-degree bend on it, cut it to, I think this was about inch and 3/4 on the inside here. And I'm going to set that up in the cultivators, and I'm going to mark it for the pin. These got a hole in them, so I'm going to mark for that hole, make sure my length looks good on this, and then we're going to bring it back up here on the table, lay it next to this one, and we're going to figure out something for this other end. I'm either going to heat that rod up, pound it flat, and drill it, but I'm kind of afraid I won't have enough metal. It'll be a thin end, so I'll probably end up welding a plate on the end and drilling a big hole in it. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, so I had it in the tractor and I marked. I had this stuck into the cultivator side, and I marked, where I wanted the hole for the pin, and I drilled a 3/16 hole there. Okay guys, so as luck would have it, I went rummaging through my junk metal bin, and I found this, looks like 3/8 inch angle, and like I say, as luck would have it, that's the pin on the hydraulics. The hole is the perfect size, so I'm going to take this to the chop saw, and I'm going to cut that hole out. I'm going to cut right along the corner there, and I'm going to bring it down about so far, and I'm going to chop it off here, and then I'll lay that bar on there and weld that bar up, and that's going to be the end of the bar then. So, it kind of pays to have junk laying around. Alright guys, so I cut my chunk out. It's actually 5/16 thick. And the hole is, I just measured the hole is 13/16 diameter. And the length, I think the length that I cut it here was, I cut it 3.5, and it's roughly 2 inches wide, just shy of. My line ain't real straight, but it don't have to be perfect. So that's the end, and I need to cut my, rod to length and weld that on. So let me, I'll measure the rod, see how long it's got to be. All right, so cut my rod to length. I cut the rod 21 1/4, and that's roughly what the dimension is from here to about here. So now the overall length, I think it's 22 1/2 from the end of the rod to the center of that hole is, I believe it's 22 1/2. So I'm going to remeasure that, and I'm going to make that, I'm going to make this one the same. From the end of the rod to the center of that hole be 22 1/2. And essentially I'm just going to lay it on here and weld it just like that. So I'm going to, be mindful of the angles of the hole in the rod there, but it looks like it's on a 90-degree angle to the hole. So I'm gonna weld that on pretty much just like that, and I'll get right back with you. All right, guys, I'll be honest with you, this is not one of my finer accomplishments here, but it looks like it's gonna work, you know. This is kind of ugly, but you know, it doesn't have the spring on it, but you know, it'll work. So we'll get it bolted up on the tractor, and I'll show you what it looks like then. All right, guys, so it works. I mean, it goes up and down. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. That's how it spins on right there. It ain't pretty, but it works. And it's the same length as the other side, so it shouldn't have no issues with, you know, depth or whatever. So that's how I did it.